Tonight We Riot is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up where you lead mobs of workers through a violent socialist revolution. From the Steam page, violence and gore are prevalent throughout the game, although always represented in an 8-bit retro-pixelated style. This includes police brutality and violent reactions to it. Okay, so there's your content warning, everyone. I'm going to show the entire introductory cinematic because I believe it establishes some important context for just how bad things have gotten in this fictional world. But tonight, that changes. Tonight, we riot. I wish more Press Any key screens had bass drops. It's a good place for it. I'm going to give some further background so I don't violate YouTube's community guidelines. The developers said they wanted to make an unapologetically leftist game, which definitely caught my attention. They said they were inspired by BioShock Infinite, and I can kind of see that. But whereas the story of BioShock Infinite kind of falls apart halfway through because the writers were uncomfortable with writing that, yeah, a violent revolution is necessarily going to entail death, so instead they just kind of made, both sides are kind of bad. Tonight Riot doesn't do that. So yes, I know, let's get this out there. This game does have a lot of pandering. I'm okay with that. This could be an indulgence. We're allowed that now and again. We don't really get proper leftist pandering in video games, or any media really. Thanks for that, J. Edgar Hoover. Usually when media, especially video games, address politics, it's either in support of the status quo, or it has a very shallow approach, often both siding and being very reductionist. It's like, oh, war is bad, or hey, racism is bad, but it doesn't actually explain the structures that keep these things in place. And when something dips its toes in politics, or even if it's just like a very bland and simple representation, the dominant internet discourse usually comes from reactionary and crypto-fascist man-babies, and it usually amounts towards complaining about minorities or how they can't jerk it to the new She-Ra.
I don't know if you notice anything here, but that's a man. Look, it's not like dudes are out there trying to, jerk off to a cartoon. I get it.
I'm convinced that conservative oil money helps channels like this rise. You can tell because oil floats. Anyway, this game is chock full of leftist imagery, some of it obvious, some of it more nuanced. The only way through is direct action. Psst. Hey, this is totally true, because no one in office right now was running on cutting down the police, but we're seeing changes happen across the nation just by getting in their faces and fucking screaming about it and breaking a few windows. That's direct action. That's praxis. Look, it's Lukanikos. Alright, I'm gonna nip this in the bud real quick. He's speaking Greek, not Russian. These are Greek characters, not Russian ones. I already know some Americans can't tell the difference and are gonna cry this is Soviet imagery. Get over yourself. Lukanikos was a dog that would show up during the 2008 Greek protests and riots. He's not a Soviet. He's one of these guys. This is a fun thing. The 21st century has been full of unrest since its beginning. You just haven't been looking. Now, nonetheless, I will admit some of you may still be turned off by this gold and red imagery. If it really bothers you that much, just pretend it's reappropriated McDonald's stuff. It's probably not that far off from what would really happen. Later on, we steal a hover limo and paint "We the People" on the side. That's pretty cool. And there's a section in the game in a place called Bootlicker Bayou where we fight off against libertarians flying their own Gadsden flags. This is a fun detail if you know real-life American politics. The Gadsden flag dates back to the American Revolution, but not too long ago, American libertarians adopted the flag as a symbol. More recently than that, so did the Tea Party movement. Basically, their platform was ostensibly more freedom, less government, I don't want to pay taxes. But in the last few years, nearly all of them have fallen in line with the fascist Republican Party, lining up behind Trump. So in this socialist workers' revolution, yeah, they're fighting against us, of course, like they already have been in real life. US Senator Rand Paul has a cameo. There's a fun gameplay mechanic with them. If you take out the guy flying the flag, then the other workers nearby will join you, which basically seems to imply that these Gadsden flag libertarian ANCAPs are slave owners. I wonder where they drew inspiration for that from. You control both the mob of workers and an individual. This is you with the flag. You tell the workers where to go with the right click, and you left click to throw an object or a punch. When you left click to throw an object, so do the rest of the workers. This is going to be necessary in some parts. Your score is determined by how many workers survive to the end of each level. So to get the full score, a minimum amount of workers have to survive. There's no other special criteria for a full score. That's it. And you want to get the full score because that's the only way for you to get upgrades. I like this system. The revolution is violent and people are going to get hurt and die. But what's the point if no one makes it? We all need to look out for each other. I know we're killing people and overthrowing capitalism and all, but that's no excuse. You can't be an antisocial anarchist. So if you don't get the full score, you can replay the level again to retry it. I know that's not a unique mechanic or anything. A lot of other games do that. But in Tonight We Riot, it creates this neat feeling in the back of my mind about going back to rescue your comrades, so no one gets left behind. That's neat. The gameplay ties back into the theme. At first when I started playing, I was kind of cautious, and I would have the rest of the workers stand back while I picked off enemies. I didn't want them to die, right? But eventually I kind of realized this was somewhat ineffective. This is a game about working together. And what's better than one Molotov? I'll tell you. It's 6 of your comrades throwing them with you. So if it's just you throwing a brick, it only does so much damage, but the more workers you have, the more bricks get thrown. The more bricks get thrown, the more damage gets done. 8 workers means 8 extra bricks. Your damage is basically multiplied. This is necessary because some enemies are simply way too tough to take down single-handedly. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of the gameplay itself actually ties back into the themes. That's really clever design. Here's some other finer details I picked up on. So if you stand here at the start and you don't move, the police will come over here and bash your brains in. This game is just like real life. Every level is like this. The police always open fire and start swinging first. They always escalate with violence. But for the most part, the game doesn't actually make you kill anyone. It's possible on a lot of levels to just run real fast right past everyone. There's even 2 achievements for doing this. But if you do this, your workers will not all make it. You have to fight if you want everyone to survive. I'd also like to note that the game does not provide any rewards for killing people. At least no rewards beyond getting them to stop shooting at you. You don't get any money, you don't get any points, you don't get their gear or ammo. Similarly, you are not rewarded for destroying property. You can blow up cars and stuff, but you get nothing for this. Some crates have bricks and Molotovs, and some block your way. But blowing up some random Ferrari is not rewarded. All the weapons that you use are improvised or are workers' tools. Bricks, Molotovs, a pipe wrench, a monkey wrench, lumber axe, chainsaw. There's a lot. Towards the end it can even get a little confusing having to cycle through all your weapons. You never use guns, you never use tear gas, definitely never use drones or crowd suppression vehicles like the Riot police are doing to you. We aren't war criminals after all. And if all that fails, well, you can always offer a Pepsi. I just want to join the conversation. I also like that every time you start a new level or you die and get control over another worker, the headshot you have changes. There's a diverse roster here. Anti-capitalism without intersectionality is class reductionism. I hope you nerds like this video. Okay, now, I know what you're thinking. Mr. Attack, This seems uncharacteristically timely of you. I know, but get this. Check out the release date for Tonight We Riot, May 5th. This game only came out 20 days before George Floyd was murdered. Now you may think that's one hell of a coincidence, but it's not. Riots and rebellions, they don't just magically spring up. You can only push people so far before someone inevitably pushes back. The Kotaku article describes this game as, it's a cathartic exercise in returning power to the people in a world that's similar to our own, if maybe fast forwarded a few years. Kinda misjudged the timing on that one, Kotaku. And I just noticed this as I was editing, but the intro here says the year is 20XX. I'm pretty sure the intention was supposed to mean any year of the 21st century, kinda like the Deep Space Nine episode.
21st century history is not one of my strong points. Too depressing.
It's been a hobby of mine. They made some ugly mistakes, but they also paved the way for a lot of things we now take for granted.
I assume this is one of those mistakes.
A bad one. By the early 2020s, there was a place like this in every major city in the United States.
Now,
A few moments later.
This is great. We're on every channel. I bet they're watching this in China.
From what we understand.
Why do they sound so surprised? I mean, when you treat people like animals, you're gonna get bit.
but XX in Roman numerals is, yeah, 20. So 20XX could also mean 2020. That's just great. I know things seem kind of dramatic right now, but remember, of everything happening right now, people aren't throwing Molotovs. Not yet, anyway. Don't worry, my fellow Americans. We still have till November when the fascist in the White House tries to cancel the elections and everyone else is forced to pick a side. That's exciting. That'll be fun. Get ready for that, everyone. I like to say again, this game is short. I beat the game and maxed out all the achievements in about 4 hours. As far as games go, that is very short, but I still greatly enjoyed it. I am the target market, I suppose, and I did have a lot of fun. I paid the full price at $15, and I have no regrets. So yeah, if Tonight We Riot seems interesting to you, check it out. The developers, Pixel Pushers Union 512. It's also a workers' co-op. I don't know about you, but I enjoy companies like that. Hearing about structures like that always make me feel more inclined to purchase from them. I would like to end this with a reminder, a note from the devs. Remember, when peaceful revolution is impossible, violent revolution is inevitable. Thank you, everyone. Hey everyone, thanks for making it to the end. I put a lot of work into this. I guess I would appreciate viewer engagement. I don't always ask. I'm gonna ask this time. I'm asking. Thank you. It's okay if you don't. You can just leave an angry comment calling me Antifa. You've got it. I am Antifa. Congratulations. You found me. It is me. Every time you see those people in masks, it's me. Someone hit Andy No with a milkshake. It was me. Someone burned down the Minneapolis police station. It was me. Deal. I am all of Antifa. In addition to all the names on the screen right now, I'd especially like to thank Critch, Dios, Elsie Hup, Jari Pualamo, Letty J, Susie M, Uncle Quail, and Willowy Wings. This is the first major video with 10 patron backers. Thanks everyone. It's honestly a lot more than I ever expected to get. Sorry that this one took a little while longer. I don't know if you people have seen the news, but I'm kind of living in the epicenter of the coronavirus right now. It has been negatively affecting me, to say the least.